Alright, how's everybody doing? I had to stop, and get some gas real quick. Or not gas, I had to get some air in my tire. And now we're gonna get on with this ride home. Let me see, before we left we was talking about Asian people and black people. Yeah, very not very complicated relationship. I just gave you one example of how we mix with the stores and the children stealing from them all the time, and then they end up inadvertently. But I mean, there's other stuff that happens between the two. But they're like let's say you take a city like New York, they're like right next to each other. You know what I'm saying? Like even in Florida down here, black people and Asian people are like the communities. When you get a group of them together, the communities are always real close by. So it's not even like, I'm not even gonna say it's not even like race. It's more like tribalism. But because in America, like everything is about race, it gets made be like that. They just live in proximity. We share a lot of our cultures between each other. And you just get certain instances. Like I said, you just get little instances where people just get too friendly, and they might overstep something culturally between the two. And that's just how that works. Ain't nobody a bad guy. You feel me? I don't necessarily want to talk about that on my ride home now. Let's see here. Headed to the cribbo. Man, I don't know. I don't know what to talk about on the way home. Let's get back into me. Let's talk about me and my video game dreams, man. I started working on one right now. I'm basically trying to redo Crystal Legends, kind of, but number one, this was gonna be 3D. Oh, and I'm using Unity to make it. I built some. I had bought some assets from Honeti. I don't even know how you say it, but Honeti. And they're low poly, and they're just silly looking characters, and I liked it. And they had they had like a whole thing to make like a fantasy world. For like when I bought it, it was like $125, but it recently the price got lowered to $99. I kind of want my $25 back. But yeah, and it's not a sale. Like the price just dropped. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna use that, and I'm gonna recreate Crystal Legends. But also, I used to play this mod for Warcraft 3. Called Twilight's Eve. I guess you call it a map, right? Because it's Warcraft 3. It's called Twilight's Eve, and I used to play that a lot. But they had character classes similar to Dungeons and Dragons or Ragnarok Online, like this. So you start out as a novice, which is like Ragnarok. But like and then they had like, all right. So let me just explain it. Okay, so like you start out as a novice, and when you get to level 10, you get to pick one of the 8 classes, and you can be a archer. Some of them were like gender locked. So if you weren't a female, you couldn't be an archer. And when the priest's final class, so like the classes evolved, but the final class for the priest was gender locked. So if you was a male, you was like a Hierophant, and if you was a I don't even know how you say that. I think it's Hierophant. Something like that. It's some kind of super priest in the Catholic Church. But anyway, the woman becomes a priestess, or no, she's a matriarch. That's what it was. But anyway, you get the choices between priest, druid, archer if you're a woman, thief if you're a man. Priest could be male or female. Druid is only for men. Warriors for men. Thief for men. A Templar only if you're only women could be Templars. And I think, am I missing one? Warrior, thief, Maybe it was only 5. Oh, Witch Hunter if you were a man. So it was 6. And then each one has their classes. Each one has like they're like the next evolution. So what it is, they took the D&D subclasses and then made them like higher level classes. So when you get to like level 40, so when you get to level 10, you pick one of those 6. And when you get to level 40, you get to pick the next set. So like if you're a witch hunter, then you become a witcher. And if you're a druid, then you become a shaman, I think. Yeah, you become a shaman. Is that right? No, you become an arc druid at level 40. Then your level gets reset to 1. Then you go back up to level 99. And then you can become either a shaman or a shapeshifter. And then you get to pick. Then it like branches. So you get the first 2 evolutions, and then the third evolution branches into 2 different kinds. Now for the druid, like when you get from druid, arc druid, then you get to pick a shaman or a shapeshifter. Shapeshifter is obviously you get to transform into like werebears and wolves and stuff like that. And shapeshifter can be used kind of like a tank. And then for your 4th class, which is like your final evolution or whatever, the shaman becomes a summoner, which is, you spellcaster, storm type druid, the storm caller type druid. And then you become a rune master, which is again a shapeshifter type druid. Then the other classes, like the witch hunter becomes a witcher, and then you can become an inquisitor or a pro witcher. I forget what the 3rd class is called. It's some kind of a witcher. Yeah, the witch hunter becomes something else. It becomes something else. Yeah, the witch hunter becomes something else. I forget. I completely forget what that witch hunter becomes. Now, I think it's a witcher, and then you get to pick between, or maybe it's witch hunter, then level 40, you get to pick I thought it was a witcher. I might be wrong. I think it's something else, and then you get to become a witcher or an inquisitor. And then the witcher is it's Geralt. That's just not even gonna flex with you. It's just Geralt. And then the inquisitor is a aura specialist, basically. So like all of their moves emphasize like powering up your party and making them stronger. They are not very tanky, the inquisitor. The witcher is just damage. He's a pure glass cannon damage dealer. If he gets touched, he's dead. You can probably survive 1 hit from most high level monsters. And they become the pro witcher, and then the grand inquisitor. The grand inquisitor has more auras that are much better. They almost double like physical attack power, and mana regeneration is ridiculous to have an inquisitor in your party. But again, they're very squishy. You probably shouldn't take too many hits if you have one of those classes. Who was the other one? The priest, archpriest. I don't know. And then you get to become a priestess, or I don't even remember the names. The names are different between the females, but you have the 4 classes. At the very end, you become a matriarch or a hierophant, and the matriarch can bring people back to life. Whereas, the matriarch has single target, full heal, or regenerative heal, and she has the ability to shield you. So she can cast a shield on you that's impenetrable. Like, you cannot take damage when the shield is on you. And then the boy version can bring you back to life. I think that's how that works. So they have a single target heal, a regeneration heal and then a multi-target heal, and then they have 2 specialties, which I think the boy healer brings you back to life, and the female healer can cast an impenetrable shield. Well, once it's on you, the monsters cannot do any damage to you whatsoever. Then what do you have next? The archer. So the archer, a female only class. You become a archer, becomes like a better archer. I don't know, forgot what the name is, and then you can become either a even better archer or a hunter, I think it is. Which hunter is a ranged person that specializes in attacking multiple targets. Doing damage to this like crowd control type archer. And then but the range has lower range, but multiple it kills multiple targets a lot faster. Then the other one is the sniper, which is more of a single target, like damage type dealer. My bad, coughing. And their final evolutions is a monster hunter and a sniper, I think. I forget. I don't remember what the ones in between because I never played that class. Then you got a Templar, which is another female-only class, which is like your spell sword. You can go either Dark Templar or Light Templar with the splitting thing, and the Light Templar specializes in attack spells. Basically, they do a lot of spell damage and stuff like that. Whereas the Dark Templar is like purely attack speed and like bleed, like not really bleed, but like status effect type moves. But both of the Templars, the Light Templar and the Dark Templar, do crazy damage. Probably one of the highest damaging classes in the whole game. Like they do ridiculous amounts of damage, but extremely squishy. Extremely squishy, but they probably do the most damage. As far as single hit damage go, they do the most. Next class I'll talk about is the Thief. The Thief has the highest attack speed. Nothing has more attack speed than the Thief. The Thief becomes, you can either become a Stalker, Master Stalker, or you can become an Assassin or a Phantom Assassin. Phantom Assassin has the highest attack speed ever. You just like Jesus Christ, but it's super squishy. You need you have to have armor for this thing, but it can dwindle down a boss so fast. How ridiculous its attack speed is. Whereas the Master Stalker actually can be used as a tank because it has the highest evasion. That thing never gets hit. Like almost it rare. Like you'll see so many misses. Like you can't touch a Master Stalker. It's impossible. You're not hitting them. They dodge everything. I promise you, they dodge everything. And then the warrior classes, you have the regular warrior who becomes an Avenger, and then you have the knight, which becomes a Crusader. I think that's how that works. Yeah, the Avenger and the Crusader, which they're tanks. One of the tanks, I think the Crusader one is not that good as a tank. It's still pretty tanky. Like there's no other than the Master Stalker, who's an evasion makes it a tank. Excuse me. No virus over here. Excuse me. Its evasion is what makes it tanky. But in actuality, its HP is not high enough and its armor is not high enough to be a tank. But because of how high its evasion is, sometimes people use Master Stalker as a tank. But the Crusader does critical hits, so it does a lot more damage than the Avenger would, and it's still one of the higher tanky classes, but it's still not that tanky, and it also doesn't have a taunt. But its critical hit rate makes it so that what does he call it? His aggro, the aggro on that class is still pretty high, so it can be used as a tank, but it's just not the best for tanking. The Avenger is the default tank per se. They have a taunt, and they also have like damage on hit. So like they have a move. They have thorns basically. So when you hit them, you take damage as well, along with them being tanky. And they have certain items that that can heal them while they're tanking. Certain items that can actually make their survivability longer. That's the Avenger. You have to have a priest, preferably the one that brings you back to life. You need 2 priests, so anytime you're tackling, and then while I'm talking about tackling, let's bring up the dungeons. So they had basic dungeons and stuff, and then they had the impossible versions. And impossible dungeons are like, when you first do them, you're like, wow, this is fucking impossible. I remember we had a group of like 8, and we had all just beat Hell 2 difficulty. So you got normal, hard, very hard, and then you got Hell 1, Hell 2, Hell 3, and then you got Impossibles. Impossible 1, 2, 3, and 4. Impossible 4 is so hard that they give you god tier items. They give you items that basically give you a subclass almost. Like the items that are so strong, they basically give you a subclass. Yeah, really tanky. Yeah, Impossible 1, I had a group of like 8 of us, and then we went into Impossible 1 after we had beat Hell 2. Wait, there's not a Hell 3, there's a Hell 2, Hell 1 and Hell 2. And in Hell 2, they give you the Dawn's, there's these boots that can teleport you. The Dawn's something on there, Dawn's Legacy. And you can teleport with them. There's another set of boots called Jordan something in Impossible 1 or Impossible 2 that you can get that also teleport you. But Dawn's Legacy is the first time you get boots where you can just teleport. Instead of buying TPs, you can just use the boots to teleport to like the ends and stuff, which is pretty cool. But yeah, we had beat Hell 2, and then we went to Impossible 1, and we walked in there, and everybody, including the tank, and everybody, matter of fact, everybody except for the tank. Not the tank died last, but everybody, as soon as we got in there, it was done. There was a bunch of like skeleton archers as soon as you walk in, and they fucking unloaded with like Phantom Assassin type attack speed on us, and everybody died except for the tank. And the tank was just in there getting his shit pushed in. It took forever for him to die. We were like, dog, just dash out. Like, what's wrong with you? You're not finna beat them guys. You cannot do enough damage to kill them. So he sat there and killed one of them and then dashed out because he was that guy. So then we figured out that as soon as it starts, to hit your AoEs. As soon as everybody just hit their AoEs. As soon as you get into the dungeon, as soon as it starts, everybody hit AoEs. So you can clear the first pack of mobs, and then you have the tank run out there, and then we figured out how to get through the dungeon. But yeah, it's when it says impossible, they mean that. And then Impossible 2 is harder than Impossible 1, and Impossible 3, oof. And then Impossible 4 is like, unless everybody has the gear from Impossible 3, like Impossible 1 and you have to have gear from Impossible 1 to beat Impossible 2, and you have to have gear from Impossible 2 to beat Impossible 3. It works like that. Like, if you go in there with any gear that's not from the previous dungeon, you will die immediately. You're dead. It's over with. Don't even try. The only person surviving are tanky people. Tanks and master stalkers are the only people who are walking in there and surviving without gear from the previous dungeon. And even still, you're not going to kill anything without the gear from the previous dungeons. Even if you are a master stalker or a tank, you're not killing nothing. So you're just going to walk in there and then be a whole bunch of misses or just taking a whole bunch of damage. And after all of your cooldowns as a tank wear off, you're done anyway. all that damage mitigation is gone and you're dead. So I'm gonna incorporate some of that into my game design. Basically, most of the character system. I think what I want to do for the dungeons, I might have 6. I don't think I'm gonna have as many dungeons because there was a bunch of them. So there's a bunch of dungeons in that game. I don't think I'm gonna make that many dungeons. Maybe just 4 dungeons. I think is what I want to do. I don't even know if I'll make that many. I think I'm gonna do 4. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do 4. I'm gonna commit to 4 dungeons, and they're all gonna be fucking difficult as fuck. But I think I might do. This is what I might do. I'll do 4 dungeons, and then like you'll have like the base difficulty dungeon, and then every single dungeon leads into an impossible difficulty dungeon. So like when you beat the first half of the dungeon, you can leave or you can continue. But to continue, you're going into the impossible section of the dungeon. I think that's what I want to do, because I like the idea of impossible. Like it's like it's not impossible. I want you to think it's impossible, and then when you first walk in there, you're like, this is absolutely impossible. But for those people who want to figure it out, how to win, and they figure out how to win, then they can go in there and do it. Oh, I forgot to mention the impossible dungeons. Like, they had gimmicks. There was one impossible dungeon, like the first, when you walk in there are no monsters to fight. It's only the boss. But there's a maze you gotta walk through, and if you get hit by any trap, you're dead. Yeah, and you got to get through the maze. At least one person needs to get through the maze in order for everybody to survive. And that maze is long. And if you get hit by any trap, that guy is dead and he gets removed from the dungeon. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I forgot to mention that part. Impossible 4, the dungeon location. First of all, getting inside of the dungeon, once you're in the dungeon, it is impossible. Every mob in there is a boss. Every mob is a boss. I repeat. And sometimes you'll have like 5 or 6 bosses running around. It's crazy when you get an Impossible 4. But finding Impossible 4 is the part that really makes it impossible, because where it's located at looks like nothing. And there are certain NPCs that kind of let you know where it is. Like one of the NPCs in one of the towns is talking, and he's like, man, it was wild. I went over here to such and such thing, and the next thing I know, there were ships everywhere. It was pirates, because Impossible 4 is pirate themed. It was crazy. Yeah, man, I've been stuck in traffic. I've been chatting with y'all for like 20 minutes. Y'all will be surprised, man. I've gone nowhere. I ain't gone nowhere. I'm not even close to my house yet. But I'm gonna sign out here, because this is the second half is kind of going on a bit long. But I'll holler at y'all. Anybody who watched it this far, man, I really appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button for me. You're a big help. If I get enough subscribers to where I can quit this job, I mean, I'm not gonna stop doing these daily vlogs. It'll probably just be like a video of me cleaning my house, and then I'll just voice over it with my ramblings. But it won't be I guess I won't have these rides, or I might do Ubers, and then I can still do the car rides, or whenever I go to the store or something, I can do the car rides for you guys as well. But yeah, we'll figure it out when we get there, but we probably won't get there for another couple of years, so y'all will just be enjoying these every day. All right, holla at you.